story from Bengaluru. A Rapido bike taxi ride turned horrific for a woman from the city. The rider allegedly sexually harassed her, repeatedly called her and sent her inappropriate messages. The woman had booked a bike taxi while returning from a protest in town hall. And to begin with, the rider arrived on a different bike, not the one that was registered on the app. He claimed that his bike was given for servicing, which is why he brought another bike. After the woman agreed to take the ride, the situation took a turn for the worse. The rider allegedly started masturbating while they reached a desolate spot on the way to her home. Fearing for her safety, she remained silent, but even after reaching her home, the rider started calling her repeatedly and sending messages proclaiming his love for her. Finally, she blocked him. The victim posted screenshots of the inappropriate messages he sent her while narrating her entire ordeal on Twitter.
Throughout the ride, it was fine because there was so much traffic and people around. But when we reached the Sandra Government School, that road, there was nobody, and it was around 7:15, 7:20 by then. He started masturbating while riding. He was riding with one hand and he was using his left hand to masturbate. There was nobody on the road, and I was terrified. I didn't know what to do, but I kept quiet because I couldn't see even one human being around. There was no houses around. So I thought if I say something that may put me in danger, so I kept quiet. I registered a complaint with Rapido. So after I registered the complaint, Rapido told me that they deplatformed the guy, and he called me from a different number, saying that it was his friend who was riding the bike. It's not actually the person who was showing in Rapido. He asked me, can you withdraw the complaint, please? It was not me, it was my friend who harassed you. Please withdraw the complaint. The complaint is on me. So I said I will not withdraw the complaint. And then I tweeted about it. Somebody tagged Bengaluru City Police and they immediately reached out to me asking me for details. And even morning they followed up and asked me if I'm all right and what time I want to go and register the complaint.
Well, the victim had tagged Rapido's official Twitter account in her Twitter thread and asked the company to look into the background check for the drivers. The Bengaluru police have now taken note of her tweets, and the accused has now been arrested by the police.
Well, currently we're standing over here at Town Hall, where you can see that this is the location from where the victim took her Rapido bike taxi to go back home from the protest that happened on Friday, where there are several incidents that bring forth a traumatic. The city is at times for women. Was on her way home from a protest. She was trying to book a Rapido auto rickshaw, and she was also trying to book cabs, but due to unavailability of cabs and auto rickshaws, she had no other option. So the victim had to opt for a bike taxi. While she took the bike taxi from this location to Electronic City, to her home location, while she was going back to her home, in middle of the way, the driver diverted her to a different area, to a remote area where there are no vehicles in the surroundings, and tried to have inappropriate behavior on the bike. Even after victim requested the driver to drop her 200 meters away from her home location, even after that, he continuously tried to message her and harass her on messages and calls.
Well, this isn't the first time such an incident has been reported. The question being, have bike taxis become unsafe for women? The questions need to be raised on the background checks that are conducted on the riders and action on such cases being reported. In April this year, a woman had, jumped off a moving Rapido bike after the drunk rider allegedly tried to grope her. In another incident last year, a 23-year-old woman had been raped by a bike rider and his associate.
So it is definitely very disturbing, and every platform, whether they are taxis, whether there are online bike giving platforms, they should be having extra caution guard regarding these things, and all the perpetrators should definitely be punished. A thorough investigation should be done, and before that we shouldn't jump to conclusion, because there has been such instances of wrong complaints too earlier. So we don't know the merit of it, even though in the screenshot that she has given, it appears that her complaint is genuine, and such people who are having a perverted mind should not be allowed, and their license should be cancelled if it is proved true.
So the question is, have bike taxis become unsafe for women? Viewers, call us. The numbers are flashing at the bottom of your screens. You can call us and tell us whether you've had a similar experience or what you think should be done to ensure that these bike taxis become much safer for women. Let's open this up. Sheikh Salahuddin, National General Secretary of the Indian Federation of the App-Based Transport Workers, joining us on the broadcast. Brinda Adige, activist, also on the broadcast with us. But before I come to you, I want to take an update from my colleague Imran, who is joining us on the broadcast. Imran, the accused has now finally been arrested. The woman has narrated the entire ordeal that she had to go through, but questions still remain on the action that has been initiated from Rapido. While speaking to Times Now, the victim said that Rapido has apologized, but the question being, is a mere apology enough?
No, absolutely not, and just the arrest is also not a fact, because the entire ecosystem should be created so that they shouldn't feel unsafe next time. And I'm sure after this incident, many women will be hesitant to take a Rapido bike taxi, because it's not only just of course action has been taken, but it deters them from that. Why to take that risk? Why to take that, go through unnecessary harassment and later have to repent for it? This will be what some of the women might think about it after this incident. And the important is to instill confidence by the Rapido bike taxis that the city is as safe for anybody else as for women and working professional and anybody else to take that Rapido bike taxi at any point of the day, not just in the morning but even in night, and feel safe and hope that nothing as such untoward incident happens towards them, and they can take the bike taxi. That is a job of not just the police, of course, have done the job arresting it, but largely by the Rapido bike rental company to instill that confidence among its customers that this will be an isolated incident. It should not be repeated. But what is happening is that we have seen such a couple of incidents. We should not, I will also take caution in that. This couple of incidents has happened, but there are a lot of people, but there are genuine complaints of this, and the Rapido bike taxi should have done much more than what is being said, just as giving a simple apology. First is, the bike was being ridden was by registered a different person's name, and the bike which came also was a different. Why did that happen? That is what's a red flag on the part of the Rapido bike taxi. They should check the vehicles. Number 2 point, this indecent behavior, you should have checked whether the previous crime records and stuff. We're not sure yet whether the Rapido bike taxis did that. So a lot of this needs to be done so that to instill confidence among the commuters, especially the women commuters, to take the Rapido bike taxi, as I said, any given point of time, and that is Rapido's now the big a task before them to do it. Now the woman brave enough to come out and complain it on Twitter. Police is quick to take action against the accused. Immediately they have taken the arrested, but most importantly the ecosystem should be created so that they should not think double time taking such taxis to commute at whether day or any night point of the time.
Absolutely. Imran, you mentioned that there have been a few complaints, and even one complaint is one too many. Ms. Brinda Adige, alarming number of incidents being reported, but what's even more alarming is the response that has come in from Rapido. When the victim spoke to Times Now, she said that Rapido has apologized. Are we looking at this as a response to an incident like this, an apology from the bike aggregator?
Absolutely not. That is such another atrocity by the service provider. Because if you are the Rapido and you are the one who has appointed that person, you are directly responsible for his behavior. And an apology is not enough. So what is this impunity that the Rapido company issues an apology? Does my country not have any hold on this company? Does not hold the company accountable? Are there any laws to hold the company accountable? Has the company ever been held accountable by my government in the past? All of that is a no. So the impunity will continue. And these kind of cases, like your anchor pointed out, some of them will come to light, but many of them will die a silent death, because the impunity begins with the company and ends at the a person who's driving that vehicle. And that is unacceptable. That is what we are saying is unacceptable when the company absolves itself of a responsibility to take proper action.
Absolutely. Viewers, we're calling upon you as well to join us in this discussion. Call us and tell us what you think of the incident and what can be done to make these aggregators, make these cabs and taxis much safer for women and for people across the country. Sheikh Salahuddin ji, आप अगर बता सकते हैं हमें, you know, the questions are being raised on the background checks. जब ये riders या drivers select किए जाते हैं, क्या उन पे कोई background check नहीं होता, कोई action नहीं लिया जाता?
नहीं, एक चीज पहली बात तो मैं आप सबसे ये एक चीज क्लियर करना चाह रहा हूँ मैडम, जैसा आपको रैपिडो ने कहा कि एक साइलेंटली कमेंट करके माफी चाहने से कुछ नहीं होता है। इसके अंदर पूरा जिम्मेदार जितना एक बाइक टैक्सी ड्राइवर है उतना ही जिम्मेदार रैपिडो कंपनी है। इसलिए है कि रैपिडो कंपनी एक तो वेरिफिकेशन भी होना चाहिए। गाड़ी एक बुक करा कस्टमर तो गाड़ी एक आई तो वो दोष सबसे पहले, मैं ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि वो जो उनका बिहेवियर है वो सही है या गलत है, ठीक है। अगर जो गलत है तो पुलिस उसका इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर रही है, उसके ऊपर एक्शन लेंगी जरूर। ऐसे चीज को हम एंकरेज नहीं करेंगे, ये मेरी तरफ से वेरी क्लियर है। मगर सबसे पहले रैपिडो इसके अंदर स्पेशल इंटरेस्ट इस चीज पे बताना चाहिए कि एक गाड़ी जब कस्टमर बुक करे तो दूसरी गाड़ी कैसा आई, एक चीज। और दूसरी चीज, अगर आप पहले ही बाइक टैक्सी बैंड है, क्योंकि आपका जो है बाइक टैक्सी इलीगल है। आप समझने की चीज है, जो व्हाइट प्लेट पे आप बिजनेस कर रहे लगातार, वो बिजनेस नहीं करना चाहिए। बहुत सारे हमारे पास हाई कोर्ट्स में बताया गया, सुप्रीम कोर्ट में भी बताया गया कि लाइसेंस एग्रीगेटर लेना पड़ेगा रैपिडो कंपनी को। मगर आज तक रैपिडो कंपनी को से भी स्टेट्स के अंदर अपना लाइसेंस नहीं ली और लगातार जो है ऐसे क्राइम्स बढ़ते जा रहे, इसके ऊपर प्रेशर होते जा रहा। फिर भी जो है स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट देख के नहीं देखे जैसा रहने के वजह से ही ये भी एक तरीके का कंपनी का समझो के गवर्नमेंट का प्रेशर नहीं रहने की वजह से कंपनी का
कहा कि बाइक टैक्सीज बैंड है। कर्नाटका एंड महाराष्ट्र, these are also the states that see the maximum amount of use of these bike taxis, so the questions also remain on the authorities. Stay with us. We have Mr. Hariharan joining us from Chennai. Thank you for joining us. What do you have to say?
Now, we are not looking at the root cause of all these problems. See, the root cause is a fantasy of this youth about sexual habit. It's a fantasy they are living. They are not living in the real world.
Okay, but does it also stem from the fact that not enough action is being taken? That's the question. Is there a feeling that they can get away with something like this? Because like we mentioned, you know, over the last few months, there are several such incidents that have been reported. And yes, they do get arrested. But the question being, what is the action that is taken against them? And Ms. Brinda Adige, if you can come in here, if strict punishment is taken, then it would serve as an example. But unfortunately, in several such incidents, yes, there have been arrests. In this case as well, there has been an immediate arrest. But the need of the hour is to give exemplary punishment so that a message is sent across.
You're absolutely right. Exemplary punishment, and it has to be swift. And that is why we are also saying if there could be mobile vans that where you can go and make a complaint and they may be fined or they may be asked to do community service. You know, they must understand it is a crime. It cannot be, you know, washed off, wished off, because in some of the Twitter responses, somebody said, why did she go on that bike? Why did she have to go into that lonely place? Those are not questions we must ask. The question here is, why is there no fear of law? Why don't men understand that this is sexual assault and it is a crime?
Absolutely. In fact, if you go by Twitter, there are a lot of users who have also come out and shared their own ordeal about how several of these riders have contacted them even when the ride was completed. So they have access to their numbers. They start messaging or calling them as well. We have Ramesh also joining us from Nashik. Thank you for joining us. Yes, go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Ramesh, please go ahead.
मैडम, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ये क्या हो रहा है कि ये अभी मैं सुन रहा हूँ टीवी पे कि भाई ये लोगों का रैपिडो पहले तो भाई उनके रजिस्ट्रेशन पेपर्स, आपके इंश्योरेंस, उनको उनका इंश्योरेंस और
जी
हाँ इंश्योरेंस पेपर्स, लाइसेंस और दे शुड बी गिवन अ ड्रेस properly कि भाई उसके कारण
So action not just from the law, not just when the police officials arrest them, but also action being taken from Rapido, because that's also going to give out an important message to the women passengers as well, that yes, this kind of action is going to be taken, which is why they will be safe. Unfortunately, we'll have to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us, but this incident is alarming, and of course, the man has finally been arrested. We're slipping into a very quick break here. We'll be right back. To stay with us.